I thought I'd show you something really cool on working with virtual layers inside of QGIS. And I've got a geodatabase that I'm going to pull in, and QGIS just allows us to automatically pull it in, and I'm going to bring in the parcels. This is for the town of Denton. We'll hit OK there. So there's my parcels, and let's also bring in the critical area. So here's the critical area for the same location. So now I have a shapefile, the critical area, and the parcels. Now one of the things I want to do is perform some overlay analysis of this using some spatial SQL. Problem is, again, we're dealing with shapefiles and we're dealing with geodatabases. Doesn't really matter. Just use the DB manager and virtual layers inside of QGIS to be able to have access to SQL functions. And this includes spatial SQL functions due to SpatialLite being part of the SQL engine. So let's open up an SQL window, and now I can type things like select star from Denton parcels, and then I'll execute that, and that's done. So here I've written this query that says select a dot star from Denton parcels. Now I don't want to keep typing this, so I'm going to just say as A. That's why I'm using the A. And then CA for the critical area as B. And the clause I'm using is ST intersect. So this is a SpatialLite function. So we can actually run this, and we are now performing spatial SQL on a geodatabase and a shapefile right inside of QGIS. And that's done. I can click that off. And what I can do is load this as a new layer. So let's call this selected. I'll just call it selected. That's fine. Hit load. And that's done. You can see I'm now drawing all those features that got selected that are inside that, that query. I can quit out of this. I can right click, and then I can say let's edit the virtual layer. So here's my query. And if you look on here, you'll see that it's telling us a little bit about the query editor, and that it's using SQLite and SpatialLite. I can say where that and DESCLU is equal to, say, residential. So I can then add that. It says the name already exists. You want to overwrite it? I'll say sure, why not? And that's done. And you can see now it's just selecting the residential properties that met that criteria. And then what I can also do, let's zoom in really quickly to this spot. You can see some of the parcels. And they're on top of the critical area. So I'm just going to edit this virtual layer again, and I'm going to say st underscore intersection a dot star, comma, a dot geometry, and b dot geometry, where it intersects. So let's now add this. Again, it says it already exists. I'm going to overwrite that, and we'll wait for this to complete. And that completed, and it's now drawing it. And notice what's happened here. We've actually clipped the parcels with the critical area. So if you love spatial SQL the way I do, and you want to be using it on things like geodatabases and shapefiles, you can do that right inside of QGIS using virtual layers.